we did have another, like I said, if somebody else wanted to show up, can pop in whenever they're available, no problem. So welcome, this is adding alternate text to Microsoft Documents for accessibility. We get to go over the what, the why, the when, the how. And I'll introduce myself. I'm Nancy Pabros. I work with the Online Learning Office, and I am an educational technologist, which is a fancy term, to let you know that I take online courses and I add the ability for them to be accessible. So normally accessibility handles students with disabilities, but in turn it becomes accessible for all. So that's why we're looking at this today. Today's agenda, we'll learn what is alternate text, the why and when, and then the how to add. I'll give you 3 options. So simply, alternate text is a text alternative, right? It's that description, the identifier, a text equivalent, and it's for non-text content or objects. So your pictures, your images, your icons, all those types of things, photos, clip arts, tables, charts, graphs, models. There's lots of things out there that you have that need this alternate text for the accessibility capabilities. The next slide shows you the Microsoft Insert menu. If you've used Microsoft products, you've seen this menu many times. I show the PowerPoint and the Word, and that's where all these little things from the past slide come into play. We have the shapes, the smart art, the charts, the clip art, all these types of things. Mostly everything you can insert isn't going to be read, right? It's not text, it's usually this type of graphic or something, or an image. So that's what you look at. You look at this menu and then think alternate text. So we do want to learn why to add that alternate text. You have to add it for those with disabilities. It's a look at those people with visual learning disabilities. It's kind of obvious. I can't see the picture. I need the textual representation for it. So you're looking at creating that way for somebody who isn't able to see the item, the ability to actually hear what that is representing, okay? When you're using assistive technologies, those are your screen readers, and you want to make sure that they're able to hear, so alternate text allows for that. Also Braille devices, so you're talking about somebody who's completely blind, has no way to see it, so they can use these Braille devices, see and feel the text instead, and it's a piece of equipment that actually plugs into the computer for that student or that person. If it's missing, the content for them is missing. So we always want to avoid that. We want to make sure that they're always going to be able to get exactly the content that you want them to. Any questions? We also have a law in place. I just showed you a bit of it. I don't have to read it all to you. Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, amended in 1998. It goes into details. But it is we're adding the capability for those with disabilities to get the content as if they didn't have that disability. You want to make sure that they have it. It's all comparable to access for them as well as for everyone. And that's what I mentioned in the beginning. Access for somebody with a disability means access for all. Okay. So more benefits. You want to alleviate this thing of guessing. How many people see that search icon and you see a magnifying glass? Well, could it be that it's supposed to expand it, make it larger, or is it really the search icon? So let's avoid that confusion. You can actually type the word search, and then it's more self-explanatory, that's the text. Or you can use this alternate text. Have you ever mouse over it or hover over it, and then the little pop-up comes up and says, hey, that's search. Ah, good. Avoid the confusion. So that's what we're going to be able to do by using alternate text for that. Then you see some fine print. And I have to go dig out my glasses. What was that? Text can be enlarged. Have you ever had an image of a text and you've tried to enlarge it and it goes, yeah, not so good. So you want to be able to, again, provide text for everybody, whether they are documented with a disability or not. This is me, I have my disability. I'm always grabbing for my glasses to see that. Easily enough, I can grab the text, enlarge it, and I'm able to look at it. And how many work with students where English is a second language? Does anybody here? Have you had students in your class? Yeah, if you're there. So now, how do you translate it? How do you translate an image? Or have the alternate text, however, can be. All those tools that you have to use for that. And there's always the exception to the rule. We have one not to add it. Sometimes you just put an image there for your benefit of decoration. So it's not that type of important content. It just reinforces what you already stated, either in the text, or anything before. These are just a couple examples. A dictionary, you might put a word, just an image of a word, but it doesn't have to mean anything. The borders you have, they're decorative. I don't have to tell somebody who's not seeing it that there's a border, on a basic decorative stuff. So in this case, I have an example text. Harry thought that was a great idea, light bulb. Do you think alternate text is needed in that case? It's a clip art. I'm going to say no. It's just a light bulb. It's kind of the idea of the light bulb correlation. So in my case, I wouldn't put it there. So the ways to provide alternate text. I'm giving you 3 of them. The one is the basic, your preceding text. Text that leads up to an image, a chart, a table, the descriptive non-text content or an object. Everyone's seen a caption. You see a picture and you see the little, George Washington or whoever it is underneath it. That's another way. And then there's this third way that we'll go into more on the how of, is actually using an alt text command that Microsoft provides. Well, lots of programs provide it. We're going to show you the alt text for Microsoft documents today. So as explained, preceding text, pretty self-explanatory. Just all that text, especially if you need a lot of information to describe something, you're going to use preceding text, okay? Because it can be very detailed. You can give any information you want to readers with preceding text. I think that makes sense. And our caption. So usually a caption is a very short description, but it has to fully describe what you're captioning. Underneath for most, a table and equation, a lot of times they'll have table 1 or table equation 1 up at the top, and that's the default Microsoft products, so that's why I put the little sub-bullet there. The default also is figure for a figure, or picture, or smart art and stuff, and then equation or table for the other things that you insert. If you're using the index, that a lot of documentation does use, you're going to need to keep that figure. Okay, and then there's figure 1, and you can add to it. You can get rid of figure, and you can put in all your information, and you can put in 2 lines of information, still doesn't look that bad. Okay? Trick question, hardly. Which caption is correct? What does this mean, that picture, to you, or to your student, or to the general audience that you're getting at?
I think the last one.
Yep. Figure 1 could be perfectly fine if preceding text says, hey, coming up is the picture of the GCC mascot. Figure 2 is fine if you're talking Cougarettes and something else, and they just want to say, and our mascot is Jared, and then you can put the Jared figure. Number 3, perfectly fine if they're not doing an index with figures. And I threw in tiger, knowing it's a cougar, saying it can even be misconstrued. But that's perfectly fine if that's the content of like somebody typing in what they think that is, and that's whatever. So all of them, perfectly fine. It's, again, detailing what you need this to convey. Any questions up till now? Going right along. So now we're going to take a look at actually adding the caption in a word example. And it has this wonderful insert caption. So it's pretty self-explanatory as well. Usually you click on an item, right click, and then this is going to come up, the little menu. I'm going to go down to insert caption, ... This box comes up, and there, the figure 1 is the thing that defaults. I added the last bit. Animaniac cartoon character Dot. She's my favorite. And then this is exactly how it shows. So I've taken the image, it's a picture that I pulled in from the internet, and I added the caption, and it comes out in this lovely, not perfectly readable or accessible color, and that size font. So what do? It's text. What can you do with text? Highlight it, change it to white, change it to black, change it to large font, change it to a different font. You choose, but that's your option too, to make it seamless with your own document. Okay? But it's added automatically for you. Go ahead.
If you're doing the index, is that when you would use the label part?
So the label are figure, table, and equation in the word. And what it'll do is it'll default to be below for figure, and then if it's a table or equation, you can change the position to above, and it does keep that. And when you're using it just gives it the label. You can change labels, so if you're doing I'm trying to think of something else, maybe you have a clip art chart, or an art chart that you want in the heading or index, you can create your own new label, art, and then every time art, and then you keep the position to be where you want it, below or above, and then it'll keep it. And then your numbering, you can be you can do all different types of numbering as well, and change those. And you can play with that. The auto caption, I've not played with it, but it's a way to, every time you insert, it'll pop up a place for you to type in. And this is text. It's text. So you can do whatever you do to text, just like that. And screen readers read it. Somebody viewing that can read it for somebody. It's that visual for it's the text for the visual. So now we'll take a look at a PowerPoint, since it's Microsoft. So this is adding a caption with little quotes, because it's not quite a caption per se. I don't have that insert caption bit in PowerPoint. It's basically a description of that image. So I created a text box. Text box is readable, can be highlighted, and you can expand it and change the font, all these capabilities, and it specifies exactly what that image is. In my eyes, this could be, you can change this to be figure as well. I just ended up with caption colon. Okay. And with PowerPoint, everybody's worked with the different size. You can change the size of the box and the font size and color. You can put a box around it, different things like that of order. Okay. Are we good about captions? So those were the first two items. There was preceding text, caption, and now we'll move into this alt text command. So basically, as it's shortened to, it's a way to provide alternate text. Okay? You hover over that mouse, and you want to get that little box to say what that magnifying glass is. alt text command's the way to do it. I put a sub bullet here.